state your name and tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, yes. My name is Leah Bankod Roman. Um, some AKAs are El Thrilla, Lil Dead End. I'm a part of a crump fam called Dead End Fam. I am the co-founder and co-director of the Jukebox Groundz, an all street styles, hip hop movement exploration space in Mesa, Arizona. I am a dancer, a movement explorer, a artist, a choreographer, lifelong student, and yes, and a curious person. Yeah, that's just a very quick intro of me.
Awesome, thank you. Can I ask you, how long have you been in Arizona?
I've lived in Arizona for, let's see, um, 28 years. I moved
Okay,
here when I was 10.
okay. And can you tell me, just to get an idea, what year is that?
Let's see, 20 years. Wow. 98. Is that the right math? Yes, I moved in 98. So I guess almost 28 years. But I did
Okay,
move here in 98. Yeah. Mhm.
awesome, perfect. This is perfect timeline. I also interviewed Miss V. So I
Oh,
am
yeah.
yes, I interviewed her and we talked about the inception of hip hop in Arizona specifically, just because, just before, before social media, just because of location, things took its time before it ever actually made its way here.
Mhm.
And hip hop being started in 1973 as the birth date to then. In the 90s, she traced back hers to the 90s as well, where she was able to share a lot of information there. But she gave the point of view from dance teams
Right.
and and also like club life a little bit.
Hmm.
And I'm hoping to get your perspective and just a little bit of history and where you think it's also going, the future of. I would love to hear about your, because I am aware that you were on Broken Toys once.
Mhm.
And so I know that there's a history of different teams you were on in the past. And then, but you also are, as you said, you do some street style dancing and just battling. And so I also want to hear that perspective of things.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So, if you can first introduce us to hip hop, what is hip hop to you?
Yeah. Well, it's such a big question. Well, hip hop is a culture. It's a lifestyle, and the way that it was introduced to me was through dance. And what it means to me is the opportunity and given space for starting with Black and Brown culture and being able for people of all different move coming from oppression, coming from uh, struggle, being able to give them a space to um, be proud and be confident and to practice expression and uh, standing in their greatness through the means of this art form. And this art form could be in hip hop, it's the music, it's the dance, it's the visual arts, um, it's the voice, and yeah, and that's what I feel. That's what hip hop has. That's what I've learned from it, and that's what I've been able to receive from it. And a big reason of why I am continuing to practice it is because I want to continue to give back, um, give back to the culture so that it can continue to evolve and it can continue to give to the youth that comes after us.
Nice. Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about your history with hip hop? So when did you find it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when did you find
Yeah.
it? How did you find it?
Yeah. So I in Maryland, my dad was the president of a Filipino American organization. So through that, he that organization through a lot of festivals, parties, concerts, and I learned that was my first being able to learn movement was through learning Filipino cultural dances and folk dances. And we had eventually we started to learn. My dad got a choreographer to teach us hip hop choreography. So we were learning like more, I guess, more like popular dances. Like it was like Michael Jackson, like Thriller, like those kind of dances. And that was my first uh, exposure to hip hop movement and that kind of choreography, and yeah, to dance, and what sparked my interest in wanting to learn more about it. And in Maryland, there was no my exposure was the Philippine American organization and also music videos. So a lot of my first introduction and learning was my peers around me, and also Michael Jackson videos, Janet Jackson videos, Missy Elliott. Yeah, so that was like my first learning, and a lot of me was like teaching myself and watching the videos until I moved to Arizona. And then that's when uh, uh, I was still young. I was around 11. I was 11 years old, and I was just still learning off of music videos. And then when when I was I 13? Yeah, when I was 13, I met Ray Ray. And Ray Ray is my wife now, but she was first my sister's friend. But yes, so she was Ray during that time was a rave dancer. She partied like club life, that kind of thing. So um, I she saw me performing, and then they recruited me into FP Dance Crew. And FP Dance Crew was that was in 2004, and that was a that I don't well some people important people that impacted me in Arizona was Marvin Barulan. He was a choreographer. Like he taught around Arizona in like different studios in the valley. But yeah, I enjoyed FP Dance Crew. And then I don't know if you've heard of FP Productions, Boogie to Beat.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So FP Productions threw Boogie to Beat, but before they threw Boogie to Beat, they were originally just FP Dance Crew, which was a movement party, like a party throwing crew and also a dance crew.
Mm.
Yeah. So there was only four of us in the beginning as far as the movement dance crew. That was Ray Ray, Philip, Marvin, and me. And then we started to recruit more people, and then we started to compete more. And this was all my background during this time. Like all my passions was choreography. Like that was my first beginnings as far as like hip hop. So there was many things that I didn't know during this time, but I was absolutely in love with hip hop dance choreography. Um, yes, so that's like the intro of where it started. But just to quickly say, when I started to get into battling and freestyle was Furious Styles, our first the first. Well, I went we went to several Furious Styles anniversaries, which was like absolutely mind blowing. But we entered Ray and I entered our first one in 2010, and that absolutely changed my
Mm.
view on what I knew. And it made me realize there's many things that I didn't know and many things that I had to keep learning. Um, but yes, so that was just a very quick like shot through.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. So can you, I have so many questions. Can you kind of lead me through from 2004
Yes. Okay.
to 2010?
Yes. Okay. So 2004 to 2010 was more of my that was like choreography that was like the life. Like that was like what I was very much into. In 2004 to 2006, FP Dance Crew was competing a lot and in choreography competition. So people we would see a lot was Ghetto Government. Is that yeah, okay, nice.
I was an anonymous. I don't know if you're
You
familiar with
were, yeah, let's
that. I
go.
was, yes. So yes, ghetto
Yeah.
government is like our rival. So yes,
Right,
yes,
yeah, Ghetto Go. Yeah, I remember. Did you go to Big Bounce?
yes.
Yes. Oh man,
Yes.
I will never forget that competition. Yeah, that was so hype. But yeah, Genzai was in that. Um, and then we would see Camelback dance team with Rufus.
Hmm.
So yeah, we would those were like every weekend. I feel like during that time in Arizona, there were so many choreography competitions. But and then yeah, so then 20 oh, and Epic. Epic
Yeah.
never competed against them, but those were like some crews and companies that were like big choreography pillars, I feel, in Arizona. And Automatic Response. Yes. And then come 2007, me, Ray Ray, and Rose, another crewmate of mine, we created a Female Prophecy. And that was an all-female dance crew. And uh, we had Female Prophecy. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Before that was Broken Toys. Broken Toys, JoJo Diggs.
Hmm.
She when she lived in Arizona, it was me, her, and Alfred. Alfred Oyog. We created Broken Toys together, and we were running that together, which was a co-ed dance crew focused on choreography, creating choreography together, and more of a collaborative effort. And it was really dope. I learned so much from JoJo during that time and Alfred. Okay, and then me, Ray Ray, and Rose created the all-female crew, um, Female Prophecy, and
What
then
year is this? I'm sorry.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
What year is this?
That was 2007. Um,
Okay. And
Broken
then,
Toys was I think 2006.
okay.
Yeah, I think. Yes. Yes. Yeah. 2006. Yeah. And then um let's see. And then Female Prophecy, and then during that time the cruise, it was like that was Motion Theory came around. That was the Female Prophecy, Motion Theory, and Broken Toys were all crews that were under FP Productions.
Okay.
And Motion Theory was the all guy crew of FP Productions. And then there was Fresh to Death was also competing during that time, which was before Electrolytes. That was their name before, was Fresh to Death. Yeah. An Exclusive. Um, who else were there other crews during that time? Exclusive. Man. Oh, in Tucson, there was Illegit. That was Ruben, the drop. That was his first crew.
Mm.
They were called Illegit. Yeah. And we would see them at the Marana Dance Showcase. Um, Man, okay. And then so yeah, so that was during that time that was choreography competitions. And then come
Can I
to
ask a question?
yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
Is all this, would you say, relatively focused on the in the East Valley of Arizona, specific
Oh,
or Phoenix?
um no, well, I know a lot of the competitions we went to. So Female Prophecy, Motion Theory, and Broken Toys were we practiced in the East Valley at the studio that I was teaching at the time. And but quite a few of our members came from West Valley too, from
Okay.
Phoenix, from all over. And the competitions we go to, one was in Tucson, and so most of them were in oh, there was one at Tempe Marketplace. It was called Arizona's Best Dance Crew. Yes, there was Arizona Best Dance Crew, and I remember, oh, Arizona's Best Dance Crew, and it was us, Motion Theory, and Fresh to Death, or Female Prophecy, Motion Theory, and Fresh to Death, and it was always the three of us a lot in competitions, and Motion Theory always won.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, us. And I remember
Right.
us and Fresh to Death would be like, "What the heck?" Like every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Motion Theory was awesome. Anyway, but yeah. So a lot of the competitions we go to were more on the west side.
Okay.
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. Sorry. And then
That's
continue. So
okay.
you
Yeah.
I think we're at 2007.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Where so 2007, that was more of the choreography, um, what was happening with the crews during this time. And then I feel like the Boogie to Beat, I think happened maybe 2008 or 2009. It was a smaller and at a smaller scale first. Um, but then I think that was when Eagle Killers, that's another crew from the drop. And there was a H2M that
Mm.
came around. Trying to think of the other names that were there was, I think that was what it was called. Kirsten's crew. It was an anomalous, right?
That didn't come. I'm sorry. So I
Later,
was a
right?
part of Anomalous, which is Kirsten's crew,
Anomalous.
which we came
Yes.
in like 2017, 2016.
Oh, that was later. Okay.
And then there
There's
was
a second one.
Anonymous,
Anonymous. There, okay, okay,
which was
there
we,
it
and
is.
we were like in the South and in the West Valley.
Okay, yes. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
With Sherilyn Ralph, I think was her name, and like Natalia Lane was the one of the
Oh
directors.
yeah. And
Yeah.
there was another crew was that Cisco was a part of.
So yes, because I did that. Well, I think Cisco had two. But I did Arizona Raw Talent.
That's it. There it
Yeah.
is. Yes. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Arizona
did
Wild
that
Talent.
was that around 2008? Because I didn't join until 2015.
2015. Okay, maybe I'm like maybe it was early 2000s when Arizona, but I feel like I remember Arizona Raw Talent like
I
coming
mean, I
up.
think yeah, because I was in the last season. So in
Oh, okay.
2016 was when Cisco moved to LA, and so that was the last season we did
Oh,
it.
okay.
So, but I'm assuming it was around. I don't know when it started, but I know it was around before then. Yeah,
Okay. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember all the crews that like were around and
I mean, it sounds like there's a lot. Like
ah,
I grew up around here and had no idea. I know JR had
yes.
here in the because he lived over. I'm in the West Valley, so he lived
Yes.
in the West Valley.
Unusual Suspects.
Yes, yeah,
Yes. Yeah. Wow. Yes. Man, yeah. That's
it's a
awesome.
lot.
Yeah, there was a lot. Yeah, there were a lot. And yeah, it was cool. It's cool to think about because there wasn't, I mean, I wasn't active on Facebook, and that was really the only kind of
Yeah.
social media we had during that time. So all these crews, we would just know of each other at these competitions and these like, um, and these performances too. Because, not sorry, competition wasn't like the only big thing. I remember, there would be several showcases that people would just go to, and performances were just as important as competitions. So it
Hmm.
was cool to see all the crews. I wouldn't know them until we saw each other, and it was dope to
Yeah.
connect that way.
Yeah, that's cool. I had no idea there were this many. Wow.
Yeah.
So then how did you enter into the freestyle battle scene?
So yeah, let's see. So my first battle was Fear Styles, but what made me like really curious about freestyling was and curious about learning more foundation movement, because before that, I just loved creating choreography based off of a song that I would hear, and then I would create choreography and movement and like patterns. But I never my thought of learning style and its foundation and being able to freestyle it didn't really like come to my mind at all until Hip Hop International, and that was in which year was that? That was 2010 also. No, 2009. Oh no, beginning 2010. Yes. That was the first 5 Footed Thrillers was a crew branched out of Female Prophecy, and we entered Hip Hop International, and that was a very humbling experience. um, because there was just so much we didn't know that was out there until
Mhm.
we saw it. And there were man, that I remember that was the first time me seeing Campbell locking in front of my face like that. And it was just, I just remember being so mind blown and so hungry after that to be able to learn more about these styles and the history that I just had no idea of. And yeah, it was a bit of a little like slap because I didn't I there was so much I didn't know, but it was very life changing because after that my mind completely changed and what I made me a more curious and hungry learner. And then from there we trained more. We came back home and we trained more in freestyle. We were drilling foundations and all these things. We would just watch like YouTube videos and then try to learn off of that. And then after entering our first battle, that made us realize we need to connect with the community here. And there are teachers here that practice these styles that we didn't know because we didn't open our minds to it. So then we started connecting more with the community, going to more battles. How scary it was at first. It still is scary. Dancing in ciphers. Um, yeah, so that was the start. So 2010 was a really big year for me and for Ray and I.
That's cool. And so 5 Foot Thrillers is now, it's still a crew. I didn't know the history of this. Is it, I have always associated specifically with Crump, but it's not a Crump crew specifically.
No, it's we are a so 5 Foot Thrillers started off with we were it was me, Shax, um Ray, Rose, uh Tracy, I don't know if but Carolina, Supermood, V. Yeah, so we first entered Hip Hop International and then we wanted to train together and battle and freestyle together. So we didn't really have a set style of what we were, but all of us started to gravitate to certain ones as we kept learning all of them. Um, so for Ray and I, we started to gravitate to Crump also, and that's why we're both part of Denon fam. So that
Mm.
so that may be why it looks like but we're like Carolina is in love with like hip hop and house. I also study Campbell locking and Chicago footwork. Ray also studies popping and uh, hip hop. And then Shax is dance hall. She studies dance hall and crump and hip hop. So yes. And then now we have Jazzy and JJ or Dreams. Dreams is more, she's crump and popping, and Jazzy is Campbell locking and popping. But we all love movement in general. So yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Where do you, sorry, I'm just going to review my questions. From where it came from, where do you see it going for both though, for the freestyle battle scene and the hip hop choreography scene? And also, how do you see them connecting? Because I think I also came from the performance hip hop side, but I was also a social dancer. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I went to a lot of parties, and then once I became of age, I went to a lot of clubs, and that's how I actually met a lot of the dancers in the community now. And then performing, and then I'm like transitioning into. I go to a lot of events. I work a lot though, so I can't always be at everything. But I'm at the events, right? But I just recently started battling again. I battled a long time ago and I had stopped for a while, but I'm like getting back into it.
Yeah.
So, how do you see the connection between the two communities? Is it
Mm.
the same community? Is it not? Like, just what are your thoughts on that?
Mm. Um, yes, I do feel that Arizona dance community is is connected in some way. I don't know if it's the same community,
Mm.
but I do feel like it is connected with certain people who are there are people that are tapped into both, which help bridge it, I feel. Like I see people who are more because I think that I do think that there's like a performance and a choreography community that as far as they take classes from each other, they go to classes together. They're at different conventions together, and then they perform and support each other in like the move showcases and
Mhm.
the different studios and classes that happen throughout Arizona. And then I see some of them sometimes coming to events and battling too. And also, I think it's important that even though they're not battling, they're there to support, and which means they're still part of that sharing in that community too. And then I have seen people who maybe are tapped in more in the battle community or battle more that have been coming to like the Phoenix dance showcases and have been performing and are part. Like I know some of them are part of Ellie's piece that are coming that's performing tonight. So I do see bridges, and also So Power. I think is such a big event that bridges that and shows
Mhm.
that connection between the those communities. But yeah, I was reflecting on this question earlier when you sent that, and I feel like right now, as far as where we're at in Arizona dance, is there's a lot of growing and a lot of curiosity that's happening that I've been seeing. And I think that's coming from there's a lot more people that maybe felt like they were just choreography dancers that are like wanting to train more and going to sessions and going to battles just to watch at first. But I think they're going to start to enter soon, which is cool. And then I have been seeing more freestyle dancers taking classes at the jukebox, which makes me like, oh, like what's happening? Like I just, yeah, I think there's a lot of and people have been going to each other's sessions and hanging out and not just dancing. Like after the session's over, they're just still talking, and I think that's so cool to see that people are just like eating together, breaking bread together, and I think it's showing a lot of growing and connecting right now in Arizona.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
My last question, comment. Well, I think a big thing also is jukebox stands at a nice space of like in the middle, right? So you have this crew that attends and does choreography, but then you also have the foundation of it. And I think that that space is a great place for people to like meet in between. So I thank you for that, for having a space where we can, come together to your point and break bread or whatever it is. Um, is there anything else you want to say or add? Yeah, you answered all the questions.
Well, I would like because one of the questions you had to was where do I see Arizona
Yes.
going? Yes. So just to put this out there, I think it would be because I know right now we're in this growing connecting phase. But I really love like for there was a time, and I think it's getting back there again. But like Fear Styles anniversaries would be the event that um dancers from all over the world would come to Arizona, and it was it was really dope to be able to have Arizona dancers being able to connect to um like Arizona being the destination for people to come. Like, so
Yeah.
many we hear so many things like, oh, gotta go to LA, gotta go to New York, but like Arizona being the destination um for dance and hip hop and opportunity, and yeah, and I see that. I see that being able to happen again. And like uh Desert Storm, have you been able to go to a Desert Storm yet?
I have not, but yeah, but
Desert
yeah.
Storm 6. But we have Desert Storm 6, which is a Desert Storm is I would say is one of the biggest crump events in the world. But we have one coming, and yeah, I see, and I do feel like it will happen, that Arizona will have more events that are more internationally known. Yes, that's what I see, and I will want, and we will make it happen. Yes.
Yeah, I feel I feel like Arizona is there. I think to your point, more people need to come and stuff, but I really feel like we have the quality,
Yes, yeah.
and so I think it's just Time. I think a lot has also changed with COVID, and we're
Mm,
still in this weird space of like, how do we interact and get together? Um, and just with everything happening in the world, it's difficult sometimes, right? But I do personally think that Arizona is already there. I just think that there's just still some hesitation, not to Arizona, but just in general of like, that's where I need to be. Because
mm,
there are things that they're the big things that people want to go to, right? The jokes, the
yes.
Red Bull, right? Even HHI, like all these big things that the ones that aren't there yet on population, not quality, because I would argue the ones here are a lot more quality wise than them. Um, but I just think it's still just trying to get that right of like, this is important too, this matters. And I think I've seen some of the events we've hosted here where they end up being like, if you win or top three or whatever, can move on. And I think
Yes.
that's great. I don't know what is that called? Why am I
Qualifiers.
qualifiers? Thank you. But I think that's great because it's a thing of
Yes.
like, I need to go to Arizona. I
Right.
need to go to
Yes.
this event.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way of, and I also think it's a good way of connecting to show that like the hip hop community isn't just Arizona hip hop, but it's also there's this larger culture of hip hop that we're all identifying with anyways.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I completely agree. And I definitely, it's going there. Like, I think that, yes, it's there, but I agree. It is a weird transition stage of, and everyone willing to commit to the time. And I think that's happening. We're getting there.